Do you really need that i20? Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2021 Hyundai Grand i10 1.2 fluid automatic. It comes with a very peppy 1.2 litre engine and a 4-speed torque converter automatic. It looks like a quality product, and it should because of its price. Is it though? Hyundai has really struck a chord with South Africans. Most of its models have been constant sales successes. People love its premium interiors, good, if unassuming looks, and class-leading warranties. But this isn't new at all. It properly started all the way back in the mid-2000s. Hyundais from the 90s and early 2000s were really well priced and packed with standard features, much like a lot of Chinese offerings now. But they weren't really refined, and build quality was subpar. But then they struck a 1-2 punch with the Gates and the second facelift Atos in 2003 and 2005 respectively, although for very different reasons. The Getz got much love because of its great styling, driving dynamics and safety, all wrapped up in a competitive price. The Atos sold well because of excellent value for money. It had very generous standard equipment including air conditioning, front electric windows, 50-50 split folding rear seats, and power steering. In South Africa, more than 45,000 Atoses were sold, making it a huge sales success. When it came time for the Atos' global replacement in 2007, Hyundai took a page from Apple's book and called the newcomer the i10, the i making it endlessly cooler and more modern. Thankfully, there was much more to this little contender than a derivative name. It was much more attractive than its predecessor, with more sculpted and modern lines. The interior received a big boost in quality as well, with the cabin looking much more cohesive and crisp than the box-intensive Atos that came before it. To sweeten the deal was great standard specification. Even the entry-level car received front electric windows, a radio with CD player as well as USB port, and power steering. Sadly, it lacked safety features such as airbags and ABS. Those safety necessities are reserved for the much more expensive GLS model. Fortunately, in 2011, Hyundai restructured its i10 lineup with a facelift. You could now get 2 airbags as well as ABS and electronic brake distribution for as little as 109,000 Rand. But that wasn't all. The exterior was refreshed with a new bumper, grille, and headlights. The side indicators moved from the front fenders to the door mirrors, and there were fewer black plastic trim pieces around the car. The interior saw a revamp as well, with blue and black dials, a new stereo unit with better connectivity, and a generally better thought out design. This is where things get rather interesting. In 2014, it was time for the i10's replacement, and European markets received the new i10. In South Africa, though, the facelifted first generation carried on until 2018. Instead, we received the Indian-made Grand i10, which looks really similar in design, but had a 4 cm longer wheelbase, two-toned interior which was larger than its European sister, and convenience features like keyless start. All in all, a much more solid and attractive offering that fits perfectly between the i10 and the i20 locally. And the strategy worked, as the Grand i10 was a sales success locally along with the aging, smaller i10. With the Grand i10's replacement in 2019, Hyundai South Africa struck a formula that works by importing the bigger, better-equipped Indian-built Grand i10. The original i10 was getting long in the tooth as well, so South Africa turned to India yet again and imported the Santro as the new Atos, making it the new entry-level Hyundai in South Africa. Back to the Grand i10 though, I thoroughly like the design of this newcomer. It looks really modern, youthful and edgy, with a massive grille, swept-back headlight clusters with daytime running lights, and 15-inch alloy wheels on this fluid model. A wider track makes for a car that looks much more substantial and expensive. The rear is more of an evolution of its predecessor, particularly its light clusters, but modernized. A great detail is the floating roof design, where the C-pillars are blacked out. Very trendy at the moment. You can tell that a lot of research has gone into the exterior design of the Grand i10, and I think they nailed it. The best part, however, much like with most cars, is found when you get in it. Considering the class of the Grand i10, its interior absolutely blows me away. The Grand i10 truly has grown up. Everything is exactly where you expect it to be, and the proportions are damn near perfect. I really feel as though the designers put a lot of thought and effort into the design of its cabin. You barely notice that this is an A-segment car. You have to look really hard to see where Hyundai has saved some money. A prime example of this stunning attention to detail can be found when you look at the side air vents. They look stunning, and even though there aren't any chrome accents, it is lifted a bit by a thin red strip. The center air vents look and feel as though they belong in a much more expensive car. And I particularly like this plastic trim that runs from the side air vent to the center console. It is a honeycomb design that fades in gradually and then back out again. Fit and finish is absolutely exceptional for a car in this class. Everything fits together beautifully with no inconsistent panel gaps. What's more, the construction feels extremely solid. The dashboard and center console feels as though it will outlive you, your offspring, and your offspring's offspring. These doors don't feel particularly heavy, but they do close with a solid and muted thud. The design is well thought out, and all the controls are ergonomically well placed. I particularly like this Z structure. It helps to keep the door panel from looking boring, and this door panel really needs that, because even though you have these neat patterns on the speaker cover and this honeycomb plastic trim piece, everything on the door is black, including this black plastic door handle that doesn't sit completely flush with its indentation. I must say, the door panel is one of the few places where you can see Hyundai has saved some money. Still, the door pocket is a decent size for a car in its class, and there is another coin compartment integrated into the door's grab handle. The steering wheel looks really good. I wish there was a bit more shiny trim pieces. I know, I'm like a fish, but it feels really good and it's solidly put together. The buttons on the steering wheel provide decent feedback, and I love the red stitching on the leather-wrapped rim. I just wish that it was adjustable for reach as well as rake, because it can be a bit more difficult to find a comfortable driving position. Also, there is no steering lock with the car off, which makes theft a tad easier. Then there are the stalks. They provide good dampening, and I enjoy using them. They are also very well labelled. The dials look suitably sporty, so much so that the rev counter gives me a very strong Mercedes SLK vibe. What's more interesting though is the mono-colored digital speedometer and trip computer. They are clear and easy to read, and I love the silver surrounds. Only criticisms I have is that it can be quite awkward to cycle through the trip information using a needle sticking out of the dials themselves. Also, the general design looks a bit asymmetrical, which won't please everybody, including me. I am pleasantly surprised to see such a great infotainment system on an A-segment car. The graphics is clean and crisp, and it is surprisingly quick to load different menus and to respond to my touch. It is also extremely intuitive to use and comes equipped with Bluetooth audio, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This, combined with a USB port and an SD card slot, makes this car perfect for an audiophile. The only gripe I have is this massive slab of black plastic that surrounds it, and there is no volume dial, rather volume buttons, which can be cumbersome to use. With the exception of that, everything is just peachy in my opinion. These seats are trimmed in a black faux leather, along with red stitching as well as some red piping. They look really good and even offer decent side bolstering. However, I don't feel enough lower back support, which means that over long distances, things might start to get a bit uncomfortable. The climate controls could not be simpler to use, even if they don't look quite as expensive as some other things found in the cabin. One of those things is the automatic gear lever. It looks extremely sturdy, is wrapped in leather and accented by piano black plastics and brushed metal. I love it. Another thing that I love about the Grand i10 is its storage solutions. The designers were extremely thoughtful when they decided where all your bits and bobs will go. You have access to a very big undampened glove box, another open space above the glove box opening, a large tray area in front of the gear lever that is perfect for these massive phones that we're carrying around lately, 2 cup holders, one big enough for an actual cup and the other one more designed for thin cans like a Red Bull, and a long thin tray next to the handbrake, and that is only for the front passengers. Get in the back and you will be pleasantly surprised by the amount of room back here. There is ample amounts of knee room as well as sufficient headroom. The front seats are raised slightly so you can tuck your feet under them for even more comfort. You also get your very own rear climate vents, which is a fantastic feature for a car of this size, decent sized rear door pockets and storage pockets behind each front seat. There is no drop in quality back here either. The boot is on par with its rivals at 252 litres, and below the false floor you find a space-saver spare wheel, quite rare for cars these days. It is also very well equipped and comes with 2 tethering hooks as well as 2 hooks to hang your groceries. The rear seats fold flat in a 60-40 split on this fluid model and makes room for even more space. Now when the seats are folded flat, it does present quite a big ridge that hinders through loading, and there is quite a big boot lip which makes lifting heavy things over it rather difficult, but that is true for its rivals as well. I am thoroughly impressed by this car's spec and interior. There's a certain elegance to it that punches well above some of its competitors. Does this notion stay true when you drive it though? Let's be honest, the Grand i10 will spend most of its life driving in and around town, and here it does not disappoint at all. Visibility is very good all around, and you get rear parking sensors as standard on this fluid model. Combine that with light steering, a responsive 4-speed automatic gearbox, and its relatively small dimensions, and you have a recipe for a car that's perfect for traversing the cities. What's more, because of its relatively low weight, the engine feels rather peppy, especially at pull away. This gives you extra confidence to weave through lanes during rush hour traffic. Hyundai did a great job of creating a car that is perfect for its natural environment. Out on the twisties, and it's not its natural environment, but it will get you around the corners. The steering feels rather lifeless, but it does feel quite direct, and there's a surprising amount of grip on offer. There is also quite a bit of body roll. If you respect its limitations, you will be more than happy with how it performs. A long-distance cruiser though, this car is not. I think I might have been fooled by the grand moniker to the i10's name. I thought it would be a bit more at home on the open road, but this is an A-segment car after all. There is quite a bit of tyre roar and road noise entering the cabin, and the engine joins in on this tone-deaf choir by being really rather intrusive. This is because the gearing of the automatic transmission is set up that the engine runs at 4,000 RPM at our national speed limit. This results in a rather tinny sounding experience that can get tiring after a while. The lack of support from the seats might also result in some lower back pain after a couple of kilometers. But I can forgive the Grand i10 for that. This isn't a GT car and it doesn't pretend to be one. What I can't forgive though is its disappointing safety performance from global NCAP. Now this might seem rather convoluted, but there are actually two i10s for the world market. There is a European built one and the Indian built one. The European model received 3 out of 5 stars from the stringent Euro NCAP. The Indian built version received 2 out of 5 stars from global NCAP, whose tests aren't nearly as stringent as those at Euro NCAP. The Indian built model also doesn't get electronic stability control no matter what model you go for. This is not good, especially considering the price you have to pay for one of these cars. Forgive its shortcomings though, and you're rewarded with a car that has a vast dealer network and a class-leading 7-year warranty. Hyundai even throws in a free service. Then there are its quirky looks and fantastic interior that makes you feel special. Just give us the European one. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you enjoyed the review, please give it a thumbs up as it makes the world of difference to my channel. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to my channel and get notified about my latest videos. I have tons more coming up for you guys, so stay tuned. If you're more interested in some behind the scenes footage and maybe a peek into my personal life, you can follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description box below. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until next time, bye.